Greetings everybody, Sean here. Let's get this started. The movie Captain Marvel is really doing a number on a lot of people. It's very interesting. I mean, there are YouTubers out here. Well, there's a YouTuber out here who I would figure was level-headed. And I would say he's level-headed. You know, even level-headed people, they get bamboozled every once in a while. But it even has this individual YouTuber shook with all these conspiracy theories and stuff regarding the Captain Marvel movie. You know, the whole is legitimately making over $900 million at the box office. Let me pose this to you, okay? First and foremost, Disney, the multi-billion-dollar company that isn't going to be hurt if they have a movie that flops. They've had movies that flop before. Wasn't A Wrinkle in Time a Disney movie? It flopped. I remember John Carter was a huge flop. They've had other flops before. John Carter was a while back ago. But anyway, it's a company that has a movie studio, and movie studios know the risk, and those movies sometimes flop, and this studio has had movies that have flopped before. They're not afraid of a flop. You know, it's not going to break them. They're successful enough to where they can handle a few losses at the box office. Now, another thing I want to say this too is in regards to just the Captain Marvel and the movie flop, and there's going to be other stuff I talk about too, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been around for 10 years, probably a little bit longer than that, but a little over 10 years. And they've been very successful for 10 years. And they are still successful, right? So, going through 10 years of success, 10 years of, but let's just say 10 years of making movies, period, why are they going to wait until the second to the last movie in this giant 10-year story, multi-picture movie story, this phase of the Marvel Universe, Cinematic Universe, why are they going to wait till the second to the last movie? The movie right before the conclusion. Why are they going to wait this long to start trying to fudge the numbers? If the studio was going to fake anything, fake its success to sort of like trick the fans and trick the general audiences, then that would have happened early on. That would have happened early on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not this late in the game, not with one movie removed from, not the second movie removed from the final conclusion of the story that they're telling. And somebody else did the math. I'm not sure if it's John Campia or Dan Murrell, but somebody did the math. And they broke it down. I want to say it was Dan Murrell, because Dan Murrell did a really good video regarding Captain Marvel and all these conspiracies and stuff. He broke down all the conspiracies about the empty theaters and then the charities and whatever the case may be, whatever excuse that people were coming up with in regards to Disney paying for the movie, buying out tickets, paying for whatever, fudging the numbers. He did the math, and he was even pretty liberal with the numbers, with some of the conclusions, with some of the equations he came up with. And he said that the number would have been so insignificant that it really wouldn't have made that big of a difference to the bottom line. So even if Disney was fudging the numbers, you know, buying out some theaters, from his calculations, it would not have affected the outcome of the movie either way that much. But then again, why would Disney do that? See, that's the questions you need to ask, because is anybody really asking that question? Is anybody really thinking it through? You ask the questions and then you try to answer the question. That's what you do. It's not enough to go, Disney's fudging the numbers, or is Disney fudging numbers? Go, why would Disney and Marvel fudge numbers? And then you start to think, well, maybe they, and then you got to start going, well, answer the question. Well, maybe they fudged numbers because they want InGame to be successful. Well, They have 10 years of successful movies. One flop isn't going to be enough to sit and have fans go, you know what, we're never going to watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe again. It's not going to happen. And if you're the type of fan that would claim to be loyal supporter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the past 10 years, you claim to have faith in Marvel, you claim to have faith in the Russo brothers, and then one movie comes along that you don't like, and that causes, and that's enough to rattle your confidence in the company, then that doesn't speak very highly of you. So why would Disney fake it? There's no reason for them to fake it. Other than they're just bored, they just want something to do, they're just messing around. They got a warped sense of humor, whatever the case may be. So, use common sense when you start hearing some of these outlandish claims that you've never heard for any other movie. But now all of a sudden, it comes about in regards to this one particular movie, start with about a character that some fans just don't care for, about an actress that people seem to have gotten butthurt over, all you have to do is look at the information that's out there. And you can look at the information that's out there regarding Brie Larson and the controversy that surrounded her in regards to white males and her movie. And you could take what she said. It's out there. There are plenty of clips of it. There are plenty of clips of the entire speech that she gave. There's articles and stuff where she's clarified her intent and stuff behind that. But going beyond that, looking at some of the other stuff where people flat out claimed that she didn't want white men at her movies. Flat out claimed that she hated white men when none of those words came out of her mouth and she never even hinted at or implied those things. So people flat out lie. So is it beyond the realm of possibility that people will flat out lie about this movie being successful? You know, people send pictures of empty movie theaters. I can go to the movie theater, you know, whenever it opens, and I can at a certain time of day, a certain time of the week, and the movie theater will be empty and not have that many people in it. And also you got to consider the fact that if the movie's playing in a whole lot of screens, then some of those screens are going to be empty. That's not definitive proof that they fake numbers. You got to go with more than that. You got to use your common sense. You got to sit back and you got to think, you got to ask questions, you got to investigate stuff. And you got to go, what sense does this make to do this? That's the biggest question. What sense does it make for Marvel and Disney to try to fake these numbers? They're already successful. The MCU is successful. 22 films, is that what it is? After InGame, it'll be, 22 films? And they have one flop? And they haven't had a flop, but if Captain Marvel would have flopped, one out of 21 is a damn good record. I mean, 1 out of 22 is a damn good record. Damn good record. Why would they be afraid of that? Why would they try to fudge numbers in that regard? They wouldn't. And then also, there's something going around in regards to Brie Larson. No, the Russo brothers not wanting Brie Larson or Captain. No, let me rephrase that. Because I'm just hearing what somebody else said that they heard. That the Russo brothers didn't want Captain Marvel in InGame. Well, let's break that down, okay? Well, first and foremost, maybe they didn't want her in there, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. But just because they didn't want her in InGame doesn't mean that they can't make her work in InGame. Doesn't mean that the movie's going to suck. And there were people out there who are afraid that the movie's going to suck. They're panicking that the movie is going to suck because the Russo brothers didn't want Captain Marvel in InGame. Well, let's just say that they didn't. But first and foremost, check the source. Who said this? Where did the source come from? Is it multiple sources? Okay, if it is multiple sources, where did those multiple sources get their information from? Because a lot of times it all reverts back to one particular source, and then everybody runs with it, and then everybody else says, well, it's coming from multiple sources when it originated from one source. Where did the source come from? And then also, if you pay attention to this stuff, and you pay attention to the Russos, and you pay attention to interviews, and pay attention to everybody around it, just from outside looking in, you gotta ask yourself, is that true? Maybe. I doubt it. I'm not buying it. I'm not reaching for my wallet. I'm not ready to hand this person money to purchase this bullshit that they're selling me. But even if the Russos didn't want her in there, that doesn't mean that the movie's going to suck. It doesn't mean that they can't make it work. And I'll point this out to you. Patty Jenkins was not thrilled to have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot would not have been Patty Jenkins. If Zack Snyder never put Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman, never cast Gal Gadot, and Patty Jenkins got the job to do Wonder Woman, and then Patty Jenkins was looking for people to play the role, actresses to play the role, Patty Jenkins would not have picked Gal Gadot. She was stuck with Gal Gadot. Now, obviously, upon meeting Gal and working with Gal, Gal won her over, but keep that in mind. Patty Jenkins was not that thrilled, from what I understand, what I remember, what I recall, she was not that thrilled. Let me rephrase that, because I don't want to say she wasn't thrilled, because that indicates that she doesn't like Gal Gadot, whatever. Gal Gadot would not have been her first choice as Wonder Woman. And look how good of a job look how good that movie came out. But also, here's some other things you got to realize this, because you really need to think. One, there have been interviews where the Russo brothers stated, if I recall correctly, stated that Captain Marvel was originally supposed to be in Infinity War. And they filmed stuff with her in Infinity War. I want to say that I'm like 80% sure that they said that they filmed stuff with her in Infinity War. Maybe they were talking about the script wise or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure, but there was indication that she was supposed to be in Infinity War at some point. So why would they not want her in? Why would they not want her in InGame? Because they thought that she would have been shoehorned in InGame if they were originally going to have her in Infinity War. And I think the reason why, because there's just a lot of characters and too much stuff to juggle, so it just wouldn't have fit right story-wise. Also, Captain Marvel was announced, what, 2013, 2014, about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, the movie was announced. No, actually, no, that was when, I think 2014 was when Brie Larson was announced to play the character. But the movie had been announced about a year or so prior to that. So you have the announcement of the Captain Marvel movie, let's just say about 5 years ago, 5 years give or take ago. So here's 5 years that these people, the Russo brothers, knows that this character is going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Know that this character is going to be introduced. Know that Kevin Feige is really big on introducing this character and has big plans for this character. And this was this was before they filmed Infinity War. This was before they filmed Civil War. When did Captain America Winter Soldier come out? They probably knew about Captain Marvel before Captain America Winter Soldier, or right around that time. So they've had the knowledge that this character was going to be introduced at some point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that Kevin Feige had big plans for this character. So to sit here and say that the character was just shoehorned on them, forced on them at the last minute is just absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're making it sound, these people are making it sound like, the Russo brothers, day one of production, cameras are about to roll, and all of a sudden Feige comes parachuting in going, oh, wait a second, yeah, you got to put Captain Marvel in this movie, so find a way to fit her in. And then other stuff too that's just absolutely ridiculous. People are sitting here panicking and worried. Oh, Captain Marvel is going to come in and she's going to beat Thanos and it's not fair. Other characters deserve it and blah, blah, blah. You have the Russo brothers and you have Feige and all these other people are sitting there saying that Captain Marvel isn't going to be the main person in InGame. You know, even if they didn't come out and say that, common sense would dictate to you that, you know, who's been in there for the longest? Well, it's been Iron Man, Tony Stark. Who's the face of Marvel? Well, a lot of people say Captain America and Iron Man, but, you know, realistically, it leans more towards Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. He would be the centerpiece of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, other characters have their spots and they're sharing stuff, and it's not like he's on this completely separate plateau from everybody, but for the most part, he's the centerpiece of it. So, and a focal point. So you would think that it would be him or one of the other core characters. Maybe they'll throw a little curveball, whatever the case may be. But common sense tell you that they're not going to bring in Captain Marvel at the last minute and have her whip everybody's ass and save the day. And Feige and the Russo brothers actually alluded to this. Here's what I find completely amazing. All these people say they trust Feige. They trust the Russos. They have faith in Feige. They have faith in Russos. But yet, they're going to take the words over some jackasses on YouTube and social media who get their information from some other jackass on YouTube and social media who gets their information from some jackass who has a blog that has no connection or ties or insider information at all. They'll take their words for it, but they won't listen to the actual people who work on the movies. What in the fuck is wrong with you dim-witted idiots? Wow! It amazes me. 10 years, 21 movies in, and all it takes is one movie with a female-led superhero starring an actress whose political viewpoints that people disagree with, and your entire world come crumbling down. Forget about destroying the MCU. People are, well, Brie Larson killed the MCU. Brie Larson didn't kill the MCU. Brie Larson destroyed you. And she wasn't even trying. She wasn't even trying. She was completely oblivious to the fact. She's just going about her daily life, however you want to say it, her daily life of living in a bubble, being an SJW, you know, whatever you want to say, going about her business, enjoying life, whatever the case may be, and she completely wrecked your world without even noticing. Without even noticing. Destroyed you. Use common sense, people. And for those who like to sit there and use common sense, because there are people out there who want to push a narrative because, you know, making videos bashing Captain Marvel and Brie Larson have proven to be very successful for some people, so they're going to continue to push this toxic atmosphere and this negativity in order to continue to garner that success from views. So you got to take that into consideration. You got to take all the information. You got to consider the sources. You got to consider the people who are pushing the information and what do they gain from it. What agenda do they have to push? Just use common sense. It's not that hard. Anyway, catch you on the flip side.